I have hired real people on all three of these platforms with real money for real work that mattered to my business, and the single biggest mistake I see people make is treating Fiverr, Upwork, and OnlineJobs.ph as if they are the same tool. They are not the same tool at all. They solve genuinely different problems, and if you reach for the wrong one for the job in front of you, you quietly waste real money, real time, and a fair amount of goodwill in the process. I run a lean business with a small remote team, and over the years I have used all three of these for different things, and I have gotten it wrong in both directions more than once. So in this video, I want to walk through what each one actually is, in fair and honest terms, where each one genuinely shines, where each one quietly costs you, and the simple rule I now use to decide which one to open for a given job. I am not here to trash any of them, because honestly, all three are good at the thing they were built for. The whole point is that they were built for different things. So let me be fair to each, lay out the real trade-offs, and give you a way to pick the right one on purpose instead of just defaulting to whichever one you happen to hear about first. What each one actually is. So let me start by describing each one fairly and accurately, because you cannot pick well between three tools if you do not really understand what each one is. Fiverr is a marketplace of productized gigs. You go there to buy a defined deliverable at a set price. Someone lists a specific thing they will do, a logo, a short video edit, a piece of copy, and you buy that exact package. It is fast, it is convenient, and it is genuinely great for a one-off thing you need done and off your plate. The quality varies a lot from seller to seller, so you have to vet carefully and read the reviews, but for a single bounded task, it is hard to beat for speed. Upwork is a global freelance marketplace built around projects and contracts. You post what you need, freelancers apply, and you hire someone for a specialist piece of work. It has escrow, so your money is held safely until the work is delivered, and it has a real review history on both sides. The platform takes a percentage cut of the money that flows through it, and the whole thing is built around billable hours and contracts, which makes it a strong fit for a specialized short to medium project. OnlineJobs.ph is a genuinely different animal. It is a job board for hiring dedicated, usually long-term remote workers in the Philippines. You pay a monthly subscription to use the board itself, and here is the key part. It does not take a cut of the worker's wage. You find the person, you pay them directly, and you manage them directly like an actual employee or a long-term contractor. The difference that really matters, now here is the core difference that actually matters, the one that everything else follows from. On Fiverr and Upwork, you are buying a gig or hiring a freelancer. It is a transaction. You want a specific thing done, someone does it, and then you both move on with your lives. There is nothing wrong with that. It is exactly the right shape for a lot of work. But OnlineJobs.ph is built for something else entirely. It is built for hiring a dedicated teammate, someone who shows up for your business over months and years, learns how you actually work, and gets better at helping you specifically over time. That is the real split. On one side, you have a one-off deliverable, a clean handoff, a finished thing. On the other side, you have a person who becomes part of how your business runs day to day. Think about the difference between hiring a caterer for one event and hiring a cook who learns your family's tastes over years. Both are completely valid, but they are not the same relationship and they are not solving the same problem. A freelancer you hire for a project does not need to understand your whole business, they just need to nail the piece you handed them. A dedicated assistant, on the other hand, gets more valuable the longer they stay, because all the context they build up compounds. Once you see the platforms through that lens, a gig versus a teammate, a one-off versus the long haul, the choice between them gets a whole lot clearer, and you stop trying to force one platform to do the other one's job. When I reach for each, so let me get concrete about when I actually reach for each one, because the theory only matters if it changes what you do. I open Fiverr when I need a quick one-off deliverable and I need it soon. A simple logo, a single video edit, one graphic for a post, something bounded where I can describe exactly what I want, buy it, and have it back in a day or two. I am not looking for a relationship there, I just want a clean result and to move on. I go to Upwork when I have a specialized short project and I want the safety of escrow and a real review history. Say I need a developer for 2 weeks or a designer for one specific campaign, someone with a particular skill that I only need for a defined stretch of time. The escrow protects both of us, the reviews help me vet, and the contract structure fits a project that has a clear start and end. And I turn to OnlineJobs.ph when I want a dedicated assistant or a small team member for the long haul. Someone who is going to handle a recurring part of my business every week, learn my systems, and grow into the role. That is a hire, not a purchase. I am not buying a deliverable, I am bringing someone onto the team. The honest test is simple. If I can write down exactly what I want and it is done once, that is a marketplace job. If what I really need is someone who keeps showing up and gets better at helping me over time, that is a job board hire, and no amount of one-off gigs will ever add up to the same thing. The honest cost math. Now let me talk honestly about the cost, because this is where the choice gets real and where I have to be fair to all three. For a true one-off, the marketplaces are genuinely convenient, and the fee you pay is a fair price for that convenience. You get escrow, dispute protection, and a vetted history, and that is worth paying for on a single job. But here is where it shifts. Upwork and the marketplaces take a percentage cut of the money, often somewhere in the ballpark of 10 to 20% depending on the arrangement. On one project, that is nothing to lose sleep over, but stretch that same relationship across a whole year of ongoing work, and that percentage of every single hour, forever, quietly adds up into real money. Now compare that to the job board model. On OnlineJobs.ph, you pay a monthly subscription to use the board, and after that first month, once you have found and hired your person, you pay them directly with no cut taken out of their wage at all. So for anything genuinely ongoing, paying a person directly after 1 month of a subscription is dramatically cheaper over a year than a platform taking a slice off the top of every hour forever. I want to be completely fair here though. For a real one-off, all of that math is irrelevant, and the marketplace is simply the better, more convenient choice. The cost story only tilts hard toward the job board when the work is ongoing and the relationship is long-term. So the honest answer is that it entirely depends on the shape of the work, and anyone who tells you one platform is always cheaper is not being straight with you. Loyalty versus a quick job. There is one more difference that does not show up on any pricing page, and it is about relationship and quality. On a job board like OnlineJobs.ph, the vetting is much more on you. There is no platform sitting in the middle holding escrow and refereeing disputes. You read the applications, you run the interviews, you check the work yourself, and you carry more of the risk up front. That is a genuine cost, and I will not pretend otherwise. But here is what you get in return. When you hire someone directly for the long term, you get loyalty and depth that you almost never get from a one-off gig. The person learns your business, cares about your outcomes, and sticks around through the messy parts. A freelancer you found for a single project has no reason to remember you next month, and that is completely fair. That is not what they signed up for. A dedicated teammate does remember and gets better at helping you every single week. So the trade-off is real, and it cuts both ways. The marketplaces hand you convenience and protection and take a cut for it. The job board hands you a direct relationship and lower long-term cost, but puts the vetting squarely on your shoulders. Neither one is free of trade-offs, and pretending otherwise is how people end up disappointed. I have gotten burnt trusting a marketplace rating that turned out to be inflated, and I have also hired an incredible long-term assistant of a job board who I would never have found on a gig site. Both things are true, and honestly, that is the whole point. Red flags on every platform. Wherever you hire, there are red flags that show up on all three platforms, and learning to spot them will save you far more than picking the perfect site ever will. The first one is pricing that is too good to be true. If someone is offering to do a serious piece of work for a tiny fraction of what everyone else charges, something is off, and you will usually pay for it later in quality or in disappearing acts. The second is copy-pasted proposals. If the message you get back could have been sent to 1,000 other people and says nothing specific about your actual job, that person is spraying applications, not reading yours. The third is no verification at all. A complete lack of reviews, an empty history, no identity check, no portfolio you can actually inspect. Everyone starts somewhere, so a thin history is not automatically bad, but a total absence of anything you can verify is a reason to slow down. And the fourth, and this one matters everywhere, is pressure to move off platform before you have vetted anyone. If someone is rushing you to pay outside the system, or to skip the interview, or to commit before you have seen any proof of their work, that urgency is a flag in itself. Good people are patient with your caution because they know it protects both of you. The ones pushing you to hurry past every safeguard are usually the ones you most need those safeguards against. My simple rule for choosing. So let me boil all of this down into the simple rule I actually use. Because in the moment you do not want a lecture, you want a decision. The rule is this: first, ask whether the work is a one-off or ongoing. If it is a single bounded deliverable that you can describe and hand off, you are in marketplace territory. From there, if it is small and simple and you mostly care about speed, reach for Fiverr and buy the gig. If it is a specialist piece of work and you want escrow, reviews, and a real contract around it, reach for Upwork. But if the honest answer is that the work is ongoing, that you need someone showing up week after week, learning your business and growing into a role, then stop looking at the marketplaces entirely and go to OnlineJobs.ph to hire a dedicated person directly. That is the whole rule, and it fits on a single line: one-off and simple, Fiverr; specialist and short, Upwork; ongoing and long-term, OnlineJobs.ph. The mistake I see over and over is people forcing a long-term need through a gig site, stitching together freelancer after freelancer for something that clearly wanted one dedicated teammate, or hiring a full assistant for what was really a 1-hour task. Match the tool to the actual shape of the work, and honestly, the platform almost picks itself. So that is how I actually think about all three, and where each one earns its place. For a quick one-off, I reach for Fiverr. For a specialist short project with escrow and reviews, I reach for Upwork. And for long-term hire, someone who becomes part of how my business runs, OnlineJobs.ph is where I land every time. If you want to go that route, the link to OnlineJobs.ph is down in the description, and I will be straight with you. It is an affiliate link, so if you sign up through it, I may earn a small commission at no extra cost to you whatsoever. I only point people there because it is genuinely where I hire for the long haul, and I would tell you the same thing over coffee. None of these platforms is the best one. They are just built for different jobs, and picking the right one on purpose is the whole game. If this was useful, subscribe and follow along, because there is a lot more of this coming. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.